do we do it all? Now, here are your hosts, Lisa Litvag and Angela Sandler.
Hey, St. Louis. Welcome back to CoFoundHers. Well, welcome to this week of CoFoundHers. Today is hard. I have not had my full cup of coffee yet, Angela. So you're just going to have to really help me out today.
I'm more than happy to.
So let me tell you why I need a little extra coffee.
Yes.
Guess what I did last night?
What did you do?
I got to go to a concert, but kind of not a concert. It was a yacht rock concert.
Wow. That is in your wheelhouse.
So in my wheelhouse, and it's so summer. It was in the streets of St. Charles, and it was so fun. And you would not believe how many people were there.
I know that they do that during the summer. I've heard it's popular.
It was amazing. It was so fun. The band, I think their band name was Yacht Rockers, something like that. The guy was brilliant, the lead singer. Like, he was literally the Crisscross song, or the Christopher Cross song, where he's riding like the wind. He was like riding his pony.
No way.
Oh, yeah. It was so fun. He had his hat on. It was amazing. Literally, we were the youngest people there, which again made me so happy.
Yeah.
Because I felt so chic and young and vibrant. But it was really cool. I highly recommend it.
I feel like this was made for you.
It really is. It really is.
Lisa is known for having yacht rock on repeat in our office through her Alexa. So we're used to hearing "Baby Come Back" the whole time.
It really is my jam, and it's more the summer jam. I feel like it gets me kind of mellowed out and happy, and there's just no drama with yacht rock. I mean, there is drama. Don't get me wrong. I mean, "Baby Come Back," really, how more dramatic can you be? But it was really fun. I highly recommend it. And aren't you going to something tonight?
I might be, actually. So the Chamber of Commerce for Olivet Creve Coeur has doing a concert series tonight for 80s bands, and that is at Millennium Park.
Right.
So look that up, because that could be a lot of fun too.
Right. And isn't it like John Hughes music? So it's
think
like
so.
All the
all the good old
Cure
stuff.
and
The
Depeche
Cure.
Mode. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
super moody drama.
Yeah. So, but that's fun. And I mean, it's such a great park, and bring your picnic basket and put whatever you want in it and listen to some good 80s music.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, once that sun goes down, I know, gosh, I think we talk about this every week. So I'm so sorry, St. Louis, but man, this weather, brutal.
Yeah.
But
it's swampy season.
It's so swampy. But once the sun went down, it was really beautiful.
Good.
Really, really nice.
Good.
So,
I'm glad that you had that opportunity.
Thanks, girl.
Sounds like a perfect summer night.
Oh, it was.
Good.
But so, yes. So I need a lot of coffee this morning because this person is not used to staying out and doing that kind of stuff. But I'm glad I did it.
I'm proud of you. That's
Thanks.
good.
So why don't you talk a little bit about our guest today?
Yes.
We're so excited.
We are super excited to have our friend Karen Korn from Karen Korn Interiors with us today. We are jumping into the world of interiors, but not just paint swatches and fabric samples. We're talking about real intentional space, brave pivots, and the power to design to reflect who we really are.
Yeah.
Karen is the founder of Karen Korn Interiors. She's known for designing spaces that are not only beautiful, but deeply personal, livable, and smart. Her work has been featured everywhere in St. Louis, from St. Louis Design, St. Louis Homes and Lifestyle, and she is just so experienced and awesome, just a really great person as well, which we always like.
Yeah. And Karen is also, she's a friend, and she is also a client of ours, which is also so fun because we're in the middle of helping her craft some messaging and just really fun stuff that we get to do with Karen. And it's been a really great experience working with you, because I think you're so certain of who you are, which is really such a great thing for an entrepreneur, specifically a female entrepreneur, to be so certain about who they are and what they do and where they fit into the big picture, which I think is just remarkable and well done. Like, if there doesn't appear to be any imposter syndrome, am I right or wrong, Karen?
I think imposter syndrome always sneaks in a little bit, but I think it's also our time in our life. You know, we're at the age where there's no time for it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
That's a good
100%
point.
agree.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit more about Karen Corn Interiors. Like tell our wonderful St. Louis audience who you are and kind of where you fit into the interior design space.
Sure. Well, we are a small boutique interior design firm located in the Clayton area.
Mhm.
And I'll I guess the most important thing about us is that we are real human beings. We're real people. We want our clients to feel like they're living in their own space, in a comfortable space, that they feel safe and grounded, and it
Mhm.
feels just like them. And we're not trying to be anybody else besides who we feel we'd want to live in that space.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yes.
totally makes sense. And I
And-
think that's so, go ahead, Ann.
Well, I
Sorry.
just love that. And that's one of the things that I've really loved with working with you is that you really care about the space that people live in and that it needs to be livable as opposed to just beautiful. It needs to be a reflection of who they are as people and how they go about their lives.
Mhm.
Yeah, and functional, most of all,
Functional, right,
right? Oh my
right.
gosh. How many times we built our house like 20 years ago, and I can't tell you how dysfunctional my house is. I really do need Karen to come in and just
Well, didn't you
completely.
just say you just took all your furniture and put it basically on the curb?
Oh yeah, it's gone. It's gone. And I think in
blank,
fact,
blank, blank slate.
I was horrified because Karen actually dropped something by my house a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, if she looked through my front windows, she was probably like, what the heck is going on in this house? It looks
Does
like
anyone
we were.
live there?
Does anyone live there? Exactly.
No judgment. Anytime. It's so funny when we walk into a client's house and they're like, don't look. And honestly, we never do. I never even do when I'm going over to a friend's house. I'm never looking or judging or rearranging furniture in my head. Never. Because
Really?
it's really just, it's about the feeling. If they're comfortable in that space, who am I to judge?
Right, right.
Somebody loves the chair that they've had for 20 years, keep it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just,
Well, I think it's, the intimidation of hiring a designer is real. Like it's real. And we're going to dig into that a little bit. But I think Angela wanted to kind of start out with your why
Yeah.
and, talk a little bit about that. So go ahead, Angela, take it away.
Yeah, we always like to know what people's whys are, kind of what sparked your journey into interior design. And when did you know that this was your calling?
I always felt like this was my calling. I grew up in a beautifully designed home. It was very livable, but I didn't really understand that I could make this a career. So after, 5 years ago, it's almost been 6 years ago, I just felt like it was the right time in my life. And I had been saying since I started this company that I am really just getting started because, both of you know, as moms and wives, we have tons of commitments and responsibilities. We're pulled in a million directions. And so now all of a sudden I'm free to really dig into my ambition that I've had forever. And I do feel like I'm just starting. I feel like on the one hand, I'm really old. And on the other hand, I'm just, starting this beautiful life for myself. So, and I get to live out that ambition that I've always had.
That's what a great way to say that. I love that you stated it that way because I think that so many women are our age and we are, for the audience that cannot see us, we are women of a certain age. We are mature enough to
mature
we
women.
are mature enough to have children that are going off to college. Let's put it that way. So I like to use the word mature, not any other term to reflect us.
Wise and mature. Wise women.
So yeah. So the why, I think as an entrepreneur and as a female entrepreneur, the why is really important to lock into, right?
Right.
Because if we don't have that why, it's kind of hard to go to work.
Right. And my why is very, very clear because as both of you know, my story, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer as a baby and my life as I knew it came to an abrupt stop. But the one constant in my life was my really comfortable home because I always put a value on my home. And once Blair got better, I knew that I wanted to bring that to others. And I wanted to bring my talent, but my knowledge and my wisdom to others in their design, in their home. And I wanted, the importance of home was not lost on me. And so I wanted to bring my clients that sense of belonging and comfort and grounding, and being livable and safe.
I love that.
Do you remember what your first project was as a designer?
Well, I dabbled in it for a really
Mhm.
long time, but my first designer as my own
Yeah,
company,
yeah,
my first
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
us those
Oh my gosh.
stories. I want to hear
This
those.
is a really funny story. So I don't know if you both know this, but I'm a really big introvert. I mean, I'm an introvert.
Oh yeah, we've discussed this because
Oh, yeah.
we are the same. Yes.
Introvert. So I don't talk to strangers. I mean, I'm very shy and very much an introvert, but I'm on an airplane flying to visit my daughter who was studying in New York for a summer. And I could not get my iPad keyboard to work for the life of me, could not get it to work. But this person next to me, we're landing. And I said, I see that you've been using your iPad keyboard. Can you tell me how you got it to work? And he just showed, it's magnetic. I mean,
Okay.
all I needed to do was clip it in. So we just started talking while landing. And he asked me what I did. And I told him I'm a designer. I just started my own company. And he said, well, my wife has been looking for a designer for the last year. And I said, really? And that was my first job.
Wow.
Whoa.
And we're still friends with that couple. We laugh about it all the time because he's also an introvert. He talks to nobody.
And
But it was meant to be.
the universe just brought you together. It
Yes.
really is. Sometimes it's that way, right?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I completely believe that. And that was my first job.
So let me ask you this. When you were a kid, did you find yourself decorating your Barbie dream house?
I was definitely not a girly girl. So I did not have a Barbie dream house, but
Okay.
I did, as growing up, always have the opportunity to design my own room
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
with my mom. So I got to, and we changed it multiple times.
Right. That's so interesting. So how many times a year do you change your own house out?
Oh, I rarely.
Really?
Yeah. Although I am doing my bedroom right now
Okay.
because it just doesn't feel good to me
Okay.
anymore.
Well, so do you change your decorations out though, like seasonally?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm so fascinated by this. Angela, do
I
you?
love that. No, mine's the same. It's been the same for a couple of years.
I also don't like chaos. Everything
Yeah.
is in
Yeah.
its own place. It's there and it's put there intentionally. So
True.
I don't like all the chaos of things. I'm also a minimalist, I'd say.
Got it.
So I don't like a lot of that stuff. I don't like the decor that comes in and out.
Yeah.
It just feels chaotic to me.
Yeah.
Angela, you would say you were minimal. Would you describe
Yeah.
yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist. I'm not as clean as I would like at times. Just
You're
do the-
clean. It's neat.
Neat.
There's
I'm
two-
clean.
yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm
Do
totally
not say
clean.
that. Let's be really
Showers
clear.
are a daily
Yeah,
ritual.
yes, showers are a daily ritual, 100%. Sorry. Thanks for clarifying that, Lisa.
I don't want our friends out in St. Louis saying that
Oh
To
my
be
Angela
God.
avoiding Angela.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm sitting all the way over here and you guys are over there. No,
Oh my gosh.
no, I'm not as neat as I would like, but we don't have a lot of random stuff
Right.
hanging around.
Right.
But that's partly because my husband can't stand it too.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better over
Yeah.
time. But yeah, no, I think definitely like
You've gotten better at showering.
yeah. Hey, I'm real good at it now. But no, it's like
yeah,
but
I
it's
think I've seen your house. Like you decorate it, you bring out your skeletons for Halloween,
oh yeah.
which is like a no-brainer.
Mhm.
And I think I've seen you have like because
Well-
we do some holiday
Yeah.
decorations, right?
But it's very minimalist
Yeah.
holiday. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather put like a big skeleton in the
Mhm.
front yard and just call it a day. You know
And
what I mean?
see-
Like I don't need all the other tchotchke stuff all over the place.
Yeah. And see, I'm opposite. See, surprise. Hello. I'm opposite. And my husband's listening to this right now, probably dying because he would love for me to be more like you two. He hates all the stuff. And I don't know if it's because I grew up not having the stuff. So, my parents, we just never did any of that.
That's so interesting because
Yeah.
I came from a house where everything was always for the holidays was always decorated to the the most decorations possible. And it was beautiful, but it's just not
right.
I don't know. Yeah, I like it, but I like it at my mom's house.
Yeah.
I like it for other people.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I think that is really, it always goes back to our childhood, doesn't it? It always goes back to
Everything does.
Yeah. How did you experience holidays when you were a kid, and how did your mom decorate and all that stuff? So yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to need to adopt your habits. This is for my second chapter of my life. I'm going to adopt a little bit more of a minimalist. Yes, Joe, you heard that. You can record it. It is recorded, Joe, by the way. You can go back
on
to
YouTube
this.
and all podcast platforms.
Thanks, Eli. Appreciate that. No, so yeah, I am determined. This is my summer of like getting rid of all my stuff. So I am determined that by the time I move my kid into college, that my house will be more of a minimalist streamlined. I love that.
Just organized. It just doesn't even have to be minimalist. It can be, you can have all of your stuff still because it makes you feel happy, but it can just be in its own place.
So give our listeners some advice on how to approach, and you're not an organizer, but
I have studied feng shui.
I was going to say a lot of what you do really goes into that, right? You're kind of talking to the house owner or homeowner about what makes you happy, what are you needing with your space. So kind of walk us through that process as how you would talk to a client.
Okay.
Pretend like I'm your client.
Okay, Lisa. You don't have to get rid of your things. Everything that makes you happy, don't get rid of. I mean, there are things that I'm a minimalist, but there's things that are in my closet that make me happy that I will never touch. I don't even know when I would touch it again, but it makes me feel happy to have it. But it is in its own place. And generally, when we're with our clients, that is what makes design the best, is having things that make you happy. They don't have to match. They don't have to match the decor, the aesthetic, the colors. But if it makes you happy to have that in the corner of your room, by all means, those things are what bring that great energy into your space. So I would say you don't have to be a minimalist. I happen to like everything a little streamlined and organized, except for when I entertain, and my tablescape is very maximalist. My tablescape is my favorite. But I will say that in your own space, it's not about having less. It's about having what feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so even, what you had wasn't bringing you joy, so you got rid of it, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a lot of things. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense. And, I think one of the things that you just touched on a little bit that I'd love to learn a little bit more is you are in a very creative position and you're working with different clients, all different types of people, all different types of looks, preferences, what brings them joy. And how do you kind of balance your vision with their project and making sure that although everyone is different and has different desires of what they're looking for, that it has a Karen Korn look to it, but is also bringing them joy?
I think one of the best parts of our job is the people and our clients and getting to know them. I think introverts tend to go deep fast. And also there's this deep, intimate connection that we have with our clients. And through that, we can see how they live, what's important to them, the relationship with their spouse or their kids. And so it's somewhat intuitive knowing how to bring in what works for them. It's also watching their facial expressions when we present something, what elevates their emotions, and what they don't like, what they do like. So it's very it's more intuitive than scientific generally. And that's part of getting to know our clients.
So you have to be really tuned into body language and all that stuff. Do you is that something that you learn, or is it just something that you just know how to do?
I don't feel like that's something you learn. I do feel like maybe you get better at over time at understanding that it isn't my agenda, it's somebody else's agenda. We can suggest so many things, but that we think will look good. But if we're getting a lot of pushback, then there's a time when we need to step back because we're not living in that space. If we want to see a green tile, but that person feels safer with a white tile, go ahead. I'm not fighting that fight.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. Well, and I think as a homeowner, you probably don't want to fight with your designer over what you want, right? I mean, it really, you're looking to that designer to guide you, but not tell you how to live, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Well,
That's exactly.
It seems to me that you're a very empathetic person and you care very, very deeply about just in general people, but to hear you say that about your clients, it's almost like an empathy and a skill to be able to feel them and be able to see what matters to them and then be able to go with it. I don't know that every designer has that.
Yeah, we put ourselves in their shoes. How would I feel if it were me on the other end? I think that's pretty much what it would be. But I think that designers, if they're good designers, they are going to. Now, it's also our job to push a little bit because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
I had a client the other day say, "Oh, I really like the way this looks. I think we should do a dark grout." So when you install tile, there's a dark line until you put grout in there. And I said, what you're seeing is one part of this entire vision. We're seeing the entire space as a whole. And I said, I hope you don't think that I am just opposing you to oppose you. She says, no, you're saving me from myself. So there is a time to push and tell her and to give the why.
Yes.
This is why I feel this way.
So you're really a partner with them in this entire process.
Always.
I mean, lock and step.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Always.
Yeah. And I think that, Angela hit on a point too, that I think is really important is that empathic piece. And I do think that you have to be able to put yourself in somebody's shoes because you just don't know. Like you would never have known that I grew up without having a family that decorated a lot. Like, you wouldn't know that. How would you know that? But you would probably sense it from the way that I was behaving or reacting to things. So I think tuning into people's body language and just what they're saying and really listening, like that must be the toughest part of your job is listening without letting your own stuff kind of come in before you hear the whole story.
And I learned so much from my clients. I learn about relationships. I learn what works, what doesn't work. I think it makes me a better designer and a better human as a whole. I really want to adopt some things that I see my clients do. So, their relationships are tricky. But I gain so much knowledge and perspective from my clients, and it's really fun. It does make me a better designer and human.
How many clients do you work with at any one point?
We work with probably around 15 to 20, but it's,
everybody's at different stages.
Everybody's at different stages. Everybody has different size projects.
Right.
So it's easy to manage that.
Right. And you have employees, right? You have a staff.
I do.
Okay. Why don't you tell us about a little bit about your staff? And I think, are we getting ready for a break, Eli?
Yeah, whenever you guys are ready, we have our first break.
Why don't we hold this part of the conversation until we get back from our break?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This hour of content on the Lou Information Station is brought to you by Grandpa Pigeons, Johnny Mac's Sporting Goods, and Becky's Carpet and Tile Superstore.
Hey, see that, kids? That's the St. Louis Arch, the gateway to the West.
the Lou Information Station, where we'll always call it Highway 40 or Highway 40 if you're a boomer.
St. Louis expression?
Stream our content 24/7 at louinfo.com. The Lou Information Station.
If you've been thinking about improving your smile, now's the perfect time. Hi, I'm Dr. Otto from Otto Orthodontics. We offer free consultations, the newest techniques, and treatment that's faster, more comfortable, and tailored just for you. Whether it's Invisalign, braces, whitening, or even Botox. We're Missouri's #1 Invisalign provider with 5 convenient locations. And here's something special. Mention this ad when you call to schedule your free consult, and you'll get $1,000 off your treatment. Visit OttoOrtho.com to book your free consult today.
Lunchtime just got a whole lot better at Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. From mouthwatering wraps to loaded quesadillas to bold, flavor-packed sandwiches, Hot Shots has something fresh every single day, along with your favorite wings, burgers, and pizza that you know and love. And don't sleep on those Hot Shots tacos. Plus, if you gotta be in and out quick for lunch, Hot Shots has you covered every day starting at 11 a.m. Find your nearest Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill now at hotshotsnet.com. That's hotshotsnet.com.
LouInfo.com news headlines brought to you by Brown and Crouppen. GetBC.com.
This is your LouInfo.com news update. I'm Jared Sorello. The Missouri Attorney General's attempt to remove St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery will go to trial later this year. The judge overseeing the legal proceeding filed by AG Andrew Bailey has announced a bench trial set for November. Bailey's petition is alleging 6 counts of Montgomery's removal, including nepotism and unlawful detentions. A man is facing allegations that he fired a gunshot near the St. Louis Galleria Mall during a domestic incident. Richmond Heights police said the unidentified suspect fired a shot near the victim's foot yesterday when the woman tried to leave him at the mall. And the Ferguson-Florissant School District will need to borrow millions of dollars for the upcoming school year. The school board voting unanimously last night to approve a $25 million loan to cover the district's budget shortfall. For the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com, I'm Jared Sorello.
Now, louinfo.com weather, presented by STL Sports Central. St. Louis sports, anytime, anywhere.
Here's your louinfo.com weather update. Low 90s on the afternoon high today. We will get some sunshine, slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. Maybe a shower this evening, clearing up after midnight, and we're in the mid-70s. Get ready for heat and humidity on Friday. It'll be sunny, our afternoon high in the mid-90s, our heat index at about 101. Scattered showers and thunderstorms for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
Hey everyone, Cam Jansen here to tell you about the experts at Fast Signs in Earth City. Fast Signs can handle any and all of your business visibility needs, from traditional signs and graphics to digital to core graphics and anything in between. Fast Signs in Earth City has you covered. The station uses them, the Blues use them, and you will love the work they do. Call 314-344-4400 for your custom signage needs today. That's Fast Signs in Earth City, 314-344-4400.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Brown and Crouppen, we get that after an accident, money's tight. That's why we offer so much for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital, we'll come to you for free. So call Brown and Crouppen, where we don't get paid unless you do. And your first consultation is free.
You've seen this. It's brand new. Are you online?
Oh, hey. Oh, so you're new here.
All right, let's get cracking.
Okay, then maybe you should check out our website.
You're insane.
Well, you download songs illegally from the internet.
LouInfo.com. LouInfo.com. The Lou Information Station. 590 AM KLIS, Wood River, St. Louis.
Our origin story begins.
Back to more of CoFoundHers with Lisa Litvag and Angela Sandler on the Lou Information Station. Streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
I love our play-in music. It's very upbeat. I mean, it's not yacht rock or anything, but It's still really good.
It's a nice tune.
It's so nice. This is Lisa.
And Angela, and we are sitting here with Karen Korn, and we just had a great segment talking all about Karen Korn Interiors and Karen as a person. And now we're going to get in a little bit into who else works at Karen Korn Interiors and the team that supports Karen and has runs their own projects as well. And just to learn a little bit more about how things operate on the business side.
Before we do that, I want to remind our listeners that we do have a text line. And Joe Litvag, do not text me that you're holding me to the minimalist thing. But our text line is 314-590-3770. So if you have any pressing questions for Karen or for us, or you want to hear something different, or you have some other questions or comments, just drop us a line. All right, back to it. Carry on.
Okay. So I have this amazing staff, and Molly is the senior designer on staff. She is I would call her my partner, even though she doesn't know. She always says, you own the business, but I do nothing without her because we've grown this business together, and I absolutely adore her as a human and also as a designer. She is incredibly talented.
She's great.
She is so great. I absolutely love her. And then I have Melinda, who came on about a year ago, and she's our office manager, and she's in charge of ordering all of our furniture and keeping track of everything. And we call her the client concierge. And it's funny because when I hired her, I'm like, listen, I do not shop. I hate shopping. We need someone to procure snacks. She goes, I am great at that. So she made sure.
Hired.
She is good at snacks in your office. Yeah. You've got some good snacks.
Right.
Well, and there's so much more. Like I have to tell you, Molly and Melinda have such good energy. Like every time we walk in, it just feels like it feels so warm in your offices. Like I always feel like I'm getting a warm hug when I walk in. So it's so lovely.
Right. And
you did good.
We laugh all the time. We laugh all the time. We had a client recently turn the corner. We didn't know she was listening to us. And she said, you two have so much fun. I'm like, we do. We have so much fun all the time, every day. I mean, who wouldn't love what we do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's stressful at times and we're dealing with people and it's really personal, but also like, who wouldn't love picking out light fixtures and fabrics and furniture and making somebody's home feel
great?
Agree.
Like, yeah, it's such a good
honor
feeling.
And privilege.
It really is.
Yes.
That's so awesome. And I love that you see it that way. And, Angela and I have this and with Remy as well, we have this conversation all the time. It's like, if you don't wake up and feel like you have purpose and that you're having fun, like if we're crying more than we're laughing, we're doing something really wrong. Like there's something really wrong with our whole thing.
Exactly.
And that's definitely like, it is a mindset. And I love that your staff and you have that mindset. Like we're going to have fun.
We're going to have fun. And we just hired someone yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so excited. Her name is Rebecca and we're super excited about her too.
Welcome, Rebecca.
Yay, I know.
Can't wait to meet
excited.
her.
For sure.
That's
That's
awesome.
exciting. That's exciting. Well, a lot of what at least what I'm hearing from the entire conversation is that you have a great heart to listen to your clients, for your team members, that you like to have fun. And a little bit of that's got to be actually who you are as a person and how you choose to live your life that then transforms over to the business. And I'd like to know a little bit more about who Karen Korn is outside of the interiors business and what are you passionate about here in St. Louis and in our city and how you contribute back to our community.
And by the way, we know the answer to this and you all, it's so cool what Karen does and what she gives back and her why for that give back is it gives you chills. So I'm going to let Karen take it, but I just wanted to intercept that one.
Okay. So, this lifetime has taught me so much about gratitude and the miracles that happen in life. And so, that is where I start every day is the joy and gratitude that I have for life and for being here and for what I have and what, not what I have in material things, but what I have in life and with my family. And So, as I mentioned before, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and I never, ever really asked why. I just asked, I didn't ask, why is this happening to me? But I asked, what am I learning from this? And where does this take me?
Yeah.
And it became very obvious very quickly that Friends of Kids with Cancer was going to be my answer, because they were there for us from the very beginning, and they made this really tough time just more enjoyable, more livable.
Yeah.
And so I started volunteering with Friends when Blair was just, I think, a year and a half. And that she was still going through some challenges, and she did all throughout until she was about 15. But now
how old was she when she was diagnosed?
5.5 months.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So she was
How
a
did you
baby.
know? How did you know?
I knew because my mother, who has this all-knowing, just said, this baby's not right.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
You just gave me chills.
yeah,
Mhm.
eventually she became paralyzed from the chest down because she had a tumor in her chest cavity. But now you would never know it. She's thriving, living in New York.
It
So
is
it's great.
remarkable the power of mother's intuition and even grandmother's intuition. And I will
Right.
say that your story is not uncommon from a lot of women who have gone through similar things. I'll
Right.
hear the same thing, I just instinctively knew
Yeah.
that something was not right.
Correct. And it was my mom who insisted.
It's
It was
so-
me who wanted to ignore the signs.
Yeah.
But
I'm so glad you listened.
oh yes.
I mean,
well, there was
so-
no not listening
Right,
at that point.
right.
But then so
And Friends of Kids with Cancer, let's just let our listeners know a little bit about Friends of Kids with Cancer is a local St. Louis
nonprofit.
And so tell us a little bit more about them as who they serve, what they do.
They serve the kids with cancer and their families. Once a friend, always a friend. So Blair still gets services as a 23-year-old in New York. But our 3 pillars are think, feel, and smile. So we touch every part of a kid's life from when they're diagnosed through even afterwards, managing their symptoms. So we're not there as a medical team. We're there just to support their lives outside of that medical world.
Got it. And we have the privilege Angela and I and Remy have had the privilege of working with Friends of Kids with Cancer on the fashion show. But what else do they do in the community that gives back?
It all starts with the diagnosis, and it's the little things from the beginning. When a kid is diagnosed and you are stuck in a hospital, we give a bucket to the family. You are really stuck there. So you don't have a toothbrush, you don't have clean socks, you don't have pajamas, you don't have things that you need just to stay there. And we give each kid a gift card they can spend wherever they want, that they can spend it on themselves or family, whatever it is. We have parties throughout the year, a winter wonderland party, a Halloween party. We have events and art from the heart. The fashion show really well. And these are just to bring a smile to the kids' faces. We also support them in educational services. So we test. There's a lot of when you're having treatment, you fall behind. So we keep up with tutoring and then testing and following kids through their educational journey. And then also therapy, because it's really hard to, number one, have cancer, be a kid with cancer, but the parents and the siblings, we also support them.
Yeah, it's a trauma.
Well,
It's trauma,
traumatic.
definitely.
Well, and that's one thing that I've always loved about Friends is that it does bring a smile to these kids' faces because they are going through so much and it gives them a feeling of normalcy. But what I was most inspired by last year wasn't exactly with the kids, it was with the parents, and that the parents can take a breath, and the parents, it's supporting them as much as it is with the kids.
Absolutely. And the siblings. I always say that they're the lost generation because it's the siblings who, all the attention, like my life changed abruptly. I was no longer the mom that her brothers knew.
Yeah.
And so it supports the siblings just as much as the kids and the parents, which I love.
And what I'm impressed with is the fact that you had a child going through this and you saw an opportunity and you actually started really getting involved in it. And I think that as a parent, it's really hard to see beyond what's going on in your unit and really be able to give and stretch yourself out that way. So tell us a little bit more about your trajectory with friends. And so we know Angela kind of opened it up of where you started. Where did it go?
So that started when she was 1.5 years, and I started the toy closet down at Children's because we didn't have a presence at Children's at the time. And I would fill 5 carts at Target and bring toys down to the hospital with her going to treatment. And then it all ballooned from there. I started the trivia night, which has been long going, and I don't even participate in that anymore. And I've been on the fashion show committee. I ran a mom's night for 5 years. Every quarter we did something fun in the city, and that was amazing. I've done a little bit of everything. I serve on this on the service committee, where we get to approve all the scholarships and approve all the programs that the hospitals ask for. And now I'm the president of the board.
Yeah.
So it's, I've seen it all. I've been really involved with the kids and touching, feeling, and being present with them. And now I've sort of removed myself from that and more of this
the overseer.
Yeah.
That's the big picture.
I still see all the kids, but I'm not as involved personally with all the kids and the families.
Well, it kind of follows your trajectory of who you are with your business as well. Is that you were committed to the kids when they were younger, and then in your second act, now you're getting to do your interiors and be a part of Friends of Kids with Cancer.
Right.
It's a very similar path.
I never even thought about it that way, but that's true.
Yeah.
Well, and so how do people get involved if they want to get involved with Friends of Kids with Cancer? And by the way, we will have this on our socials. So we'll also follow this up with all the things in our socials. So look up CoFoundHers in Instagram, and we'll share this, but tell our audience how they get involved.
On friendsofkids.com, there is a place where you can click and volunteer. So, and it's anything. It's we have Munchie Mondays. You deliver food. You can deliver toys. You can run errands. You can work in the office. You can organize the toys. You can deliver toys. You can volunteer at an event. There's so many opportunities. You can do data entry. That's great. The organization is run by volunteers. I mean, we have an office staff, of course, and but it is really run by volunteers.
Yeah, and you have a really strong core of volunteers, and we've again have had the pleasure of working with you guys for the last couple of years. But it's just remarkable, the dedication, the joy from the kids. Like when we do the fashion show, the fittings. Oh my gosh, the joy in those kids!
Right,
it is probably my favorite thing to do.
It is so funny because I see it as joy, and I'm glad that you do. We invited a table to the fashion show, and I said to Bruce, my husband, he was sort of, tearing up, and I looked at him, I'm like, this is so beautiful. It's so joyful.
Yeah.
And he looks at me, he says, this is so sad. And I'm like, what's sad about this? And that's the beauty. That's how I see Friends, is that it's the one chance, or it's the many chances when we're involved in their lives, but for them to forget that they have cancer, and that to just feel that joy as an innocent child.
Oh, and you can see it when they try on these clothes and they look good. They are so proud of themselves, and they just love it. From the little ones who love the sparkles all the way up to the teenagers that are choosing suits and they want to look nice, and they do. And it's a nice little vacation from their normalcy.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And just one more thing with Friends of Kids that I did want to mention too, because it is such a great organization here in the St. Louis area, but it's not just St. Louis Children's Hospital. It's also at Mercy and also at Cardinal Glennon. And that's really amazing because those are all three very different hospitals that serve different populations and serve different areas of the city. But you guys work with all of them to really support kids with cancer in St. Louis as a whole.
Correct.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love that. And I love what you're doing there. And I love that you're president. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I think it's so cool. We're going to do a little bit of, I think we're going to have some fun with you. Do you mind?
Next?
Do you mind having some fun?
But
We're going to have some fun.
Okay, I'll have fun.
So Angela loves to put all of our guests on the spot with this rapid fire questions. I think that innately, Angela just enjoys seeing our guests squirm.
No.
It's really hot in here.
No,
it's about to get hotter.
I think you get to know a lot about a person that you might not know when they have to think on their toes.
I would agree.
Okay.
I would agree.
There's
So
no wrong answers.
Angela's going to take it away. And
Okay.
here we go.
Question number 1. Favorite paint color right now?
It would have to be Mountain Pass.
Mountain Pass. And what color is that?
It is a deep blue.
Ooh, very pretty. I like that. Okay. Sounds
Sherwin-Williams.
Great.
Mountain Pass.
So you can go to the Sherwin and Williams store and pick it up.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's a deep blue.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Next question. What is one room in the home that everyone underestimates?
Your bedroom. Everybody thinks that it should be your living room or something you see when you walk in, but your bedroom is your oasis. It's where think about how long you spend in your bed. The most time. And people underestimate or forget how important that bedroom is as your oasis, as your you go to sleep, you wake up in that space. You're there most of the time.
Right.
I have actually gotten to an age where Joe and I laughed that I think we could just live in our bedroom.
Yeah.
With like a hot plate. I really do. I mean, I know that sounds so sad, but I'm like, we could just live in our bedroom and as long as we have the facilities and we have a hot plate, I think we're good. Right. And I'm like, we'll DoorDash everything. We're good.
Right.
So what's a good color for a bedroom? Sorry, I interrupted your rapid fire, but I do want to know a color. Give me a color.
Well, I'll go back to my feng shui.
Yeah.
And I would say not red or orange or yellow. Those are too fire, too much fire. I would say more of a watery color, some blues and neutrals, even earth colors, some tans and browns, grayish, that's what I would say.
Dark or light?
Oh, I don't know. We've done some beautiful dark bedrooms, but I prefer a light bedroom.
And do you paint the ceiling or no?
I would not paint the ceiling.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm done with my rapids.
All good questions. All good questions. Okay. What is one design trend that you are totally over?
Gray.
Okay.
We can never see gray again.
Oh, Lord. That's what my bedroom color
that's
is.
My whole house. Well, gray, a cool gray?
Yeah.
Your bedroom's a cool gray.
It's a cool gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paint your bedroom. You'll feel so much better.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, a cool gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Dream project that you haven't tackled yet?
A mountain home.
Ooh.
Can it be mine?
Yes. I love stone and beams and wood, all natural material.
I love that. That's great.
I've seen that in a lot of, of course, I'm on all the social medias like everybody else, looking at what's going on in house decor. natural is really a big thing right now, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so like a natural wood, a bleached out wood, all that stuff is really, I'm seeing a lot of that.
Absolutely. Not even bleach out, just natural. The
natural.
cherry in its natural state, walnut in its natural state, brick in its natural state, not painted. All of those I love. I think that there's such a connection to those because, I mean, you haven't messed with them at all.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like,
It's natural, right?
It's natural.
Right. I have such a fear, and I think that probably a lot of our listeners feel the same way. I think what hangs me up the most about design, and this is why you need to hire Karen, is that I'm so fearful of picking something that's going to be out next year. Like everybody's going to be like, ugh, really? Another white kitchen?
Right. But it will never feel out to you if you pick something that you love and that resonates with you and gives you the good feels.
Right.
You know, so trends come and go. Like you pick something and it's a trend. Tomorrow it's going to be yesterday's news.
Right.
But if you stick with what you love,
right,
it'll never go out of style.
That needs to be that's the line of the day. That is the line of the day. So Karen, we so appreciate you coming in today. This has been such a fun conversation. Can you tell people how to find you?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram at Karen Korn Interiors or online. My website is KarenKornInteriors.com.
Amazing.
And if you're not following Karen Korn on social media, on Instagram, you need to fix that immediately.
100%.
Karen's work is elevated, inspiring, and deeply grounded in real life beauty. And she's an amazing person to boot.
Thank you.
Well, we're so honored to know you, to work with you, all the things. And we're so excited. We hope that our guests or our audience has loved this as much as we have. And as always, you can find this episode on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram for the behind the scenes, our upcoming guests, and to stay connected to St. Louis's boldest people in business.
Don't forget to share the co-founders with your creative friends, your business bestie, or the one person redoing their living room for the 5th time.
Stay smart, stay stylish. Yeah,
pretty much.
And we're going to see y'all next week. Don't forget to tune in.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
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 Central 2.0.
Now, as you sports fans know,
it's really getting out of hand, man. It's blown way out of control.
With Cam Jansen